Yeah.
in Harrisburg.
Okay, it's working on going live now. And
I got a thing on my screen that says meeting is now streaming live on YouTube.
there we go. And
Yeah.
we're good. Oh, I have to mute it on. Let's see. Okay, it is.
We good?
We are good.
All right. Without the official gavel, I'll just tap my pen and call this meeting to order at 6:03 according to my computer. Do you want to show the American flag? We can do the
Yes,
pledge.
sir.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
The
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, sorry.
All right. Take attendance. Lou Ann Homa,
Here.
Jim Bonner,
Here.
Carrie Fox,
Here.
Brian Snyder,
Here.
Scott Dadowski is here. Erica Josephowski, I believe, is absent with cause. Adam Blythe,
Here.
Mayor Eric Carter.
Here.
Our borough manager is present. Dave Rigoli, our solicitor, is here. I do not believe Bill was on the line the last time that you had everybody up, or I don't believe we had anybody from the police department, correct?
Believe that's correct.
All right. And our code enforcement officer, Anthony Bruni, is present. All right. Exceptions to the open meetings. We did not have any executive sessions over the last month. So nothing to worry about there. Our minutes, can I get a motion to approve our April 7th, 2020 regular council meeting minutes?
So moved. Second.
I have Carrie in the first, and I believe Luann beat you by a split second there, Brian. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So we are 6-0 tonight. All right, that brings us to the first citizens comment portion on the agenda. I believe we're all unmuted, Michael. For anybody that did not attend the last meeting or has not attended one of our borough council meetings in the past, we actually have two citizens comment portions listed on our agenda this evening. The first one traditionally has been open to the public for anybody to comment on anything that is listed on the agenda. So again, this first session that we have right now is designed for any type of citizen comment to comment on anything that is specifically listed in the agenda. If you fast forward all the way to the end, we do have another citizens comment section at the very end that we will open up again. But at this point in time, I believe we do have some citizens in attendance. If any of you would like to make a public comment, please do so, starting by saying your name and then also your address, and then you can go forward.
Scott, before the public speaks, I see a few people in here. I can unmute them.
Okay.
And then if they do not wish to speak, they can remute themselves. That's not a problem. And also, just to verify before we go any further, are you able to see the agenda here?
No, the screen switched to your taking minutes.
Okay, so but it's still the agenda. I just
Correct.
have writing in red. So I'm just going to update as we go.
That's fine.
If that's okay with everybody. So it's still the same agenda, but I'll be typing into it. That way it'll keep, I can do it all on my screen then.
Nope, I'm
Okay.
fine with that.
I'll unmute these folks. And then they can feel free to remute if they don't wish to speak. So for the agenda only here, unmuted those folks.
Awesome.
So it looks like we have Jen, Tarek, iPhone, Dave,
We have Brian as well.
a couple of remuted.
Is there anybody out of the 6 or 7 names that we see here that are interested in the first citizens comment portion here?
Looks like they've all remuted. So
Okay. Going once, going twice, and I believe we have no citizens wanting to comment on that section, so we will move none at this time, and we will move to our committee and department reports. Mr. Mayor, you are up first.
I got a quick calls for service report. According to the chief, which is kind of good. It's been quiet since all this COVID-19 stuff's been going on. So in a way, I kind of hope it would keep going, but it's got to end sooner or later. But calls for service, there was 122 traffic citations issued, 9 non-traffic citations issued, 4 total citations, 3, only 4 arrests, and 5 total accidents. Make this real brief. The day of the storm, the chief picked me up about 1:30 in the morning. So we were out all night assessing all the damage throughout the borough. And I got to tell you, the communication between the police department, the fire departments, the street department, the electric, if they didn't have the communication they had, it would have been chaos that night. So I got to tip my hat to all those people that night because it ran smoothly. And just thank God that it wasn't worse than what it was. But yeah, they did a tremendous job. That's all I got.
Yeah, I thank you, Mayor. Kind of segueing into the president report, I would echo all of those thoughts. I know personally I was out at 2 o'clock picking up pieces of our fence and doing some different things. And I remember looking down the street, of course, in East Tarentum, it hit on garbage night. And you look down the street and it's some of those scenes that you see in the Twister movie or kind of some of that stuff. And my thoughts are thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be a disaster. You know, by noontime or by the time the garbage man came, I mean, everybody, like you said, everybody was out. All of our borough employees were out doing what they needed to do. Honestly, a shout out to all of the residents as well. You know, all of the citizens of the borough. You know, everybody was out kind of doing their part and helping each other out and you know, picking up debris and mess and doing what they needed to do. So I second all of your good words on all of our guys. I don't have a whole lot, honestly. We're month 2. This is our second virtual meeting. My fingers are crossed that our June meeting, maybe we actually get to have in person and go face to face. That being said, the borough is you know, up and running like we stated last month. You know, continue to reach out to the borough, the telephone. Continue to reach out to any of us council members. Again, all of our information is listed on the website for any questions, concerns, comments, anything that you need. You know, again, everything looks a little different, but we are still here to serve everybody in the same capacity that we always have. The only thing I wanted to give a shout out real quick to, I know a lot of you, Carrie was there, Brian was there, Carrie Hugh was there as well. A shout out to Luann Homa for doing what she needed to do, her part with the Penguin Foundation and that pizza giveaway. I think it was 200 or 250 pizzas, whatever it was. But again, shout out to you, Luann. Thanks for you know, kind of organizing that and being the point person. that's a nice gesture and a time that is, got everybody stretched in a million different directions. So big thanks to you. Other than that,
And
I don't have,
Public Works guys too.
I'm sorry.
The Public Works guys for all the.
Oh yeah, they were there as well. Mark and his crew were there. We had a nice little kind of organized drive-through going on for for the residents that were able to get some pizza. That definitely was a nice gesture on a Friday afternoon. So thank you, Brian, for being there. Thank you, Carrie, for being there. Thank your husband for being there, and Luann, thank you for being that point person.
Thank you, Luann.
Yeah, thank you,
welcome.
Luann.
You're very welcome.
Yes, it was a great event, and we all had a nice time. It was a nice time seeing everybody, and I think Trentham residents appreciated it.
I definitely agree with all of that. I don't really have anything else, and I will pass it over to Mr. Regoli for the solicitor report. You have anything, Dave?
No, I have no report this evening.
All right. The chief is not here, but the mayor has already kind of given the call out report. And I agree with you too. I like those low numbers. Hopefully we can keep those numbers low even when after some of the restrictions are picked up. Code officer report, Mr. Bruni.
Yes, I have a few items. As of May 1st, I was given word from the state that building permits for commercial projects can proceed. I was doing some minimal residential building permits if the homeowner was doing the work, but contractors were not permitted to work on properties. Now they are, so that will resume. And I wanted to just remind the residents that not everybody has gotten word that Waste Management is not able to pick up bulk items, furniture, things like that as well. So I've gotten a few complaints about that, and I've tried to address them individually. If anybody is aware of other trash that hasn't been picked up, they can let the borough office know. We'll try to address that. And I have one other item. It's a request for a curb cut, and I don't know if it would be brought up at this time or later in the meeting. Michael, what would you prefer?
You could bring it up now.
Okay.
That's fine.
This is one that had come up, I believe, in the fall, and it's Mark Majok, 201 Allegheny Street. His request is to actually widen his driveway. He has an existing driveway, and he wants to take a portion of his side yard or backyard to have a room for another car to park there. He's across from the high rise, and he sometimes has some problems with parking. And he had just asked if council would consider allowing him to widen his driveway. It does, the portion that he's looking at actually has the granite curbs, so it would require Public Works to go in with the machine to remove them, and then he would do the work for putting in the driveway. I don't know if anybody is familiar with that property. It's on the corner of Allegheny and 2nd Avenue. It's a red brick house and is directly across from the high rise. So I don't know if anyone wanted to view that to see if you see any problems with it. I'm sure parking is limited. It's actually prohibited on the side of the high rise for emergency purposes, but I didn't, from my opinion, I didn't see any immediate problems since he would just be widening his existing driveway, but I wanted to see what other people's input was.
Does he rent or own?
He owns,
Oh, he does? Okay.
yes,
Is it right on the corner property?
correct. His driveway faces Allegheny Street.
So he basically wants to go from like a one stall to a
Yes.
To a two-stall
it would be
driveway.
wide. It would be wider to accommodate 2 vehicles as opposed to 1.
gotcha.
What does Public Works think?
They have up to this point been doing the removals of the curbs. That there have been a couple in the last few months. It used to be that the borough would charge a fee for that service, but I know we had discussed altering that ordinance at some point, but I don't know if we got any further there. I guess it would be a matter of what their hourly costs would be in doing that labor. But I don't know if you wanted to look into more if there are more administrative costs, or if it would mean having a few borough employees or officials go to look at it. We also talked about having the engineer do a study, but I don't know how in depth you want to get with that. The only problem with curb cuts, that other than having to remove the old curb, is the traffic flow and the sight distance. When you add a driveway, it increases potentially, more accidents when people are pulling in and out of the driveway. But in his case, he has the existing driveway. It's been there for some time. So I don't know if it would be an added amount of potential accidents.
And his driveway is pulling out on Allegheny, not pulling out on.
Yeah,
Okay.
Correct. He's on
a
Allegheny.
lot of traffic through that area, so
You said there's not a lot.
no.
You're familiar with that, Mayor, right? You know his
Right.
house.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see it posing any problem with that.
Do we have to have I don't know if there has to be a formal action by council taken. I don't know if that's been done in the past. And that it has to be in the minutes, because again, the police would have to enforce the driveway. So it's probably going to have to be in the ordinance at some point.
If I may, I briefly talked with Anthony about this a couple weeks ago, but I have not had a chance to look into it yet. What I mean by that is, determining whether I'm assuming that he's filed an application for a curb cut. That's why it's being brought to our attention. If not, that would be the first thing. If that has been done, it may have been, because Anthony has quite a bit of information on it. Then we would want to review that with Public Works and the police department, determine whether there are any public safety issues or concerns. And then at that point, also cross-reference the existing ordinance to see what that says. I simply haven't had a chance to do that yet. So I don't want to, from my standpoint, I don't want to jump the gun with getting into the approval process without really knowing exactly what that entails. So I think maybe the next step would be for me to look into the ordinance, Public Works and police, and just go from there, following along in the process. And then if it ultimately needs to be brought before council, I think we could do that at the next meeting or a subsequent meeting, depending on how things line up.
How much wider is he looking to do?
I think a standard driveway is 8 to 10 feet.
Okay.
I think I haven't measured his existing one. Just on a visual, it looks like it's about 8 feet. So he'd be going probably 8 to 10.
I'm looking at his driveway right now. If he's going into that side road, right now you can barely park a car there anyway, because there's a tree right there anyway.
Well, he's going to take the tree down.
Okay. Well, I mean, even on the sidewalk, there's a tree as well. There's two trees. Unless the sidewalk one is down already, but I'm looking at a picture of, there's a sidewalk and then there's a tree in his backyard.
Right. I don't remember seeing the tree on the sidewalk.
Okay. Maybe it's gone already.
That may be. There are already some yellow curbs painted there for no parking. It wouldn't hurt for everyone to look at. He contacted me again this week, and I told him I would at least bring it up. And I just wanted everybody to just think about that.
Yeah, I wouldn't see a problem with it, because even looking at it right now, it'd be hard to park a car where he's trying to make a driveway anyway.
No.
I know in the past that they have been brought before council and council has approved them. I don't know if that's in the ordinance or how the ordinance reads. But I know that they have been approved by council. Michael would probably have to read through the ordinance, but it has been with the police blessing, and the Public Works has always looked at the property before too. That's what what I can remember.
Yeah, if you look at it on Google Map, I mean, it's not, he's got a lot of room there, so
And it's not a busy street.
not at all. Not at all.
It's definitely a bigger challenge when it's somewhere like on Bakerstown on a curve. That's when you have to really take that into consideration. It's on a flat and it's close to the intersection, but not in the intersection. I don't, but certainly I would want as many.
Is there a stop sign right there on Allegheny and Second?
Yes.
Yeah.
There is,
Yes.
because that's right at the towers.
I think,
Like
you
you said, he
know,
already has a garage there anyway. And then
Yeah.
that he pulls in and out of.
Well, I mean, Michael, you can do what, we're not going to make a decision tonight. It doesn't sound like it, because we need to make sure that we are the ones making that decision if we need to look at the ordinance and whatnot, and then, push it to June, or, vote on it, or whatever we need to do at the June meeting.
yeah, and I don't know if June is, that's far enough out. It depends. There are a lot
Right.
of factors. The ordinance is, a 24-page ordinance. So I don't
Right.
want to get ahead of ourselves here and mull over this issue too much, only because, Public Works, Chief of Police, and the engineer are all part of that ordinance. So, I think we step our way through it. And did he fill out a permit yet, Anthony?
I think he did. I want to say it did get submitted maybe back in September, and I thought I had forwarded it, but I can double check. Maybe if you, I know you haven't had a chance to look at your records.
Yeah. So that's because I don't recall any lingering curb cut application. So again, there's a lot of different factors, and then cost as well. So I think, internally we should examine it. And then, once we have all the ducks in a row, then if it comes before council, as, if that's what the ordinance indicates, and like Carrie said, I think that might be the case, then we bring it in front of council with kind of like the, the full layout of what it entails.
It works for me.
Right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Real quick, Anthony, the chief said the police has never been involved with a curb cut before, so.
Oh.
So
That might be the case, but that's because the old ordinance didn't speak to that. But the one we adopted in 2018 did, or does involve the police. However, we haven't had a curb cut application come in since we adopted that ordinance.
Okay. I just wanted to let you know what the chief had said, because I'm with him texting back and forth during the meeting.
Okay.
Michael, I believe that leads us to the manager.
Okay. You're still able to see the agenda, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
If you need
And
me
so-
to share or do something, let me know. And
We're good. So, I mean, you see the upcoming events there. The borough offices are closed on Memorial Day. There is, I'll turn it over to Carrie, whether it be now or in the rec board portion, but there is a meeting scheduled for May 26th. I believe there is some discussion we emailed today about possibly moving that to a digital meeting, a virtual meeting. So Carrie can weigh in on that. I think maybe even in the rec board section, but it would be a 6 p.m. meeting, possibly online on Zoom. It may be a different day, it depends. So I'll let her weigh in on that. Other than that, the hydrant flushing is planned for the 2 weeks, June 1 and I don't know the dates in front of me, but the week of June 1 and the subsequent week. That is not final, but it is the tentative date. So that's probably when it will occur. Primary election day, June 2nd. As we talked about, we also have a council meeting that same day at 6 p.m. If the restrictions are still in place that require us to do a digital meeting, then we'll just simply have a Zoom meeting that evening. If those restrictions are lifted and we can have an in-person meeting, that will likely take place at the Borough building. After speaking with the county, they are looking to consolidate the municipal primaries in each of the various towns to generally one location in each town to try to eliminate a lot of the hurdles that they're facing with getting poll workers, social distancing, and all the various protective measures. So the long and short of that is it is likely that our primary election day voting may take place in the Holy Martyrs Church in the 3rd Ward, and that would be for all of the wards. So that is unconfirmed. It is not official yet, but it is a likely scenario. And so if that does occur, then the council meeting can go on as usual, whether it be online or in person at the Borough Council chambers. If for some reason there is a conflict with the building itself, then we will simply determine either a new date or time and then advertise that. So hopefully that makes sense to everybody and kind of ties that all together. I don't have update. Well, I have a bunch of updates from the various publications, including the Legislative Locator and League Link, but due to the pandemic, there's just a volume of emails. They're less of monthly updates and more almost daily. So I don't have anything publicized here. I do have the engineer's report. More of the same from the engineer. The report is posted online on the website, and that's about it by way of updates. I just have a few items of business.
Michael, before you go
Sure, go
on, you want to perhaps bring up the 4th of July fireworks or kind of in the event section?
Yeah, we could do that. So it's my understanding that Summit Hose, unfortunately, I guess, and regretfully have to cancel this year's firework event. The email that came in, I don't recall it offhand, but I'll try to summarize. And essentially, due to the shutdown, it's created a lot of hurdles for them to fundraise properly in order to sustain and pull off an event of that magnitude. I think it's anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000 to host that event. And the fire department does do a majority of the fundraising for that in the months leading up. That would be, of course, the last couple months and then now into the summer. And so because of that and the inability to essentially fundraise the way that they need to, and then also because of the restrictions that and the unknowns that are going to take place leading up into July, unfortunately, they have to cancel the event for this year. So I know they were very upset by that. They kind of laid that all out in the email. I think that probably summarizes everything pretty well. I don't know if there's anything else to add. I know council was also included on that email.
Thank you.
Sure thing. So with that, I'll ask if there's consideration for a motion to pay the borough bills for the month of April 2020.
So moved.
Second.
I believe that was Carrie on the first, Adam on the second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That passed 6-0. Sorry,
Okay.
Mike, I don't remember.
No, that's
if
okay.
I did
No,
this or you did this last. I couldn't remember. I was like,
No, you're good. It's better off if you do. I think it keeps it all the same. So, but I'll read this one. It's ask council for consideration for a motion to ratify approval of the borough manager to execute the following forms for a USDA grant to purchase municipal software. Those forms are listed there. The request for obligation of funds, the letter of intent to meet conditions, the community facilities grant agreement, and the ACH vendor miscellaneous payment enrollment form.
oh man, that was a close one there. I believe it was Adam on the first. I know I heard two male voices. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it was Adam on the first, and Brian, were you the second?
No, I was not. I was one of the first, but give it to Adam.
All right, we'll do Adam and then Brian. You guys all chimed in at the same time. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that passes 6-0 as well.
Okay, and then the last item is a motion, I ask council for consideration for a motion to authorize Highlands Little League to utilize the borough baseball fields for the spring and summer of 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Carrie on the first, Brian on the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have that passing unanimously, 6-0 as well. All right, Michael, before I pass it on to Luann for Public Works, do you have anything else?
I have nothing further.
I'll take your silence as a no. All
Sorry,
right,
it's
Public
freezing.
Works.
I think I'm lagging here.
Okay. I make a motion to authorize the borough manager to hire 3 temporary summer public work employees at the rate of $12 per hour.
Second.
Luann on the first, Carrie on the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have that passing unanimously, 6-0. Anything else in I know that was the only thing listed, Luann, but
Yeah,
the
just a
floor is
couple.
yours for Public Works.
Yeah,
Sorry.
just a couple quick things. Street department's back working 5 days a week. Mark does have them coming in at staggered times, so they're not all in there at the same time. They eat their lunch at staggered times. He also said that's what they would do with the summer help, bring them in at a different time and stagger them. And they would only report to either him or Kevin. And I also, Scott already touched on this, but I really want to help. I really want to thank Scott, Carrie and Hugh, Brian and Wendy for helping with the pizzas. And also our police department and especially our street department. They did a bang up job getting that place all set up for the traffic to come through. But I especially want to thank the Pittsburgh Penguins Foundation and Fox's Pizza for the donations. It was a great day. People were very thankful. And like Carrie said earlier, it was just nice to get out and see people. So that's it.
Can I
Excellent.
ask one question about this?
Oh, and I'm sorry. Also, Dawn, I'm sorry, I forgot to say thank you to Dawn for the masks.
Go ahead, Carrie.
Can I ask a question about these hires? Are we putting out an advertisement for these or?
I believe we lost Michael.
Michael, are you there? Okay, I talked for a short time with Mark today. He did state that unless they were a previous hire from the previous summer, the new hires would all be 18 years old and in college or going to college. And that would be the prerequisite.
So we are going to advertise?
Unless they, oh geez, what happened to the whole screen? Unless they have somebody else that they have in mind. I think they've got a couple people who have already turned in some applications since there's no school. I think they've been on it, but he didn't mention to me where they were going to advertise, but I was going to throw that to Michael, but I don't know where he went.
I'm assuming we advertised, I'm assuming, Carrie, we advertised last year or in previous years.
Yes, we've always advertised. I just wanted to know like what the story was. Like all of a sudden this was on here and I was just curious. Like we didn't even make a motion to advertise, or I just wanted to know, like, do we already have them hand-picked or?
That's all the information I got. Maybe Michael has more, but I have to wait for him to get back.
He's signing back in now, I
Yeah,
believe.
slowly.
All right. Bear with me.
There he is.
There he is.
Yeah, he's back. You cut out on us
I
there, Michael.
apologize. I know. I think they cranked up the iPads and Netflix.
You better start cracking the whip.
I
My
did,
kids
and
aren't
I can
allowed to
hear
do
them
any of that
screaming.
while during business hours. Are like, nope.
I did, and I can hear them screaming. So if you hear screaming children in the background, please don't call UIS.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how much you heard before you got kicked out, but right towards the end there, Carrie had a question about just kind of following up with the summer help. Are we advertising? Are they handpicked, et cetera, just like the next steps with summer help?
I think, if I'm not mistaken, we'll follow the same format as last year. Find out who's interested. I know that there were limited applicants last year. And then I'll review that with Public Works to try to see who would be a good fit and go from there. So I don't know if we advertised it last year. If we did, we'll do the same. Won't hurt to do that. So I think that's probably the process that we'll follow.
So we'll wait until June before we actually hire them?
Well, I think, ultimately, the way it's worked in previous years is, Public Works and manager would kind of work together, I think, to try to find quality applicants or quality individuals, and then, ask council to either approve that and ratify it at the subsequent meeting. So but the way things are going and with the slowdowns in the world, really, even if we put out an ad and got, letters of interest or whatever it may be, it still may be until the beginning of June before we're actually able to, officially hire anyone anyway. We are, we put out for the water plant position, and everything kind of hit a standstill because it's hard to meet or interview or things like that. Now that's, a bigger position to fill than the temporary help, but everything's kind of slowed down. So hopefully we don't have to wait until June, but if we do get feedback and quality individuals, I can always find out from council whether you're willing to, let them get started and then ratified in June. But I think we can cross that bridge when we come to it.
Are there going to be any stipulations?
As far as what?
Well, due to what happened last year, or?
Well, that's what I said. Mark said they have to be 18 or older. They have to be going to college, and they'll report only to Mark and Kevin. They won't report to anybody else on the crew, and they will be in charge of them at all times. They'll also be coming in at a staggered time than the other guys are, and they'll also be doing their lunch at a separate time.
Oh,
So
okay.
That's his plan.
I think you'd have to just say they have to be 18. I don't think you could make that statement. They have to be going to college.
I don't know. That's just what they used to do all the time in years before. They said they wanted them to be going to college because it was
That
for something
would
they were doing.
be considered discriminating.
Yeah, I don't know that that's an actual,
don't think so.
An actual requirement. I mean, that wasn't the requirement last year.
No,
That
that's
might
what they
be
used to do.
Mark saying that in passing, because traditionally they would hire, I guess, like students or,
Right.
but no, anyone can qualify or be eligible, I guess, for that employment. They would still have to follow the borough policies and procedures that we have.
But I like the idea of 18 and over.
Certainly.
Absolutely.
That's a necessity. All right, Luann, anything else?
That's it.
All right, Mr. Bonner, utilities.
Yeah, a couple things. One is a monthly report. Michael, the link worked on the draft agenda, and maybe it's just mine, but it doesn't work on the current one. So you may want to double check that, but that can be accessed by anybody who wants to look up what the numbers. We do have a motion for a resolution 20-04. It is a resolution of the Borough of Tarentum, County of Allegheny, Commonwealth of PA, to opt out of the water supply contract agreement between the Township of East Deer and the Borough of Tarentum, something we've been talking about for a while. And this is to facilitate the negotiations of a new, more modern contract.
Before we ask for, I know you already asked for the most. Before we ask for a second, does anybody have any questions on anything that Jim has just, talked about?
No, I'll second it.
I have Jim on the first. I have Adam on the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, I have that passing 6-0 unanimous as well.
Mike, do you want to just comment when the this contract doesn't expire anytime soon, but we're just letting them know now, years ahead of time, that it'll be over.
I believe it runs through 2032, I think. It's another 12 years out.
Right, but this will get their attention, and maybe they'll want to talk to us a little bit more.
I definitely agree.
If I may, Jim, I didn't catch what you said, the link was not working. Which item is that for?
That was for the monthly report.
For the water department?
Correct.
Okay, yeah, I just got the water department report today, so it is not uploaded. So
Okay.
if there is a link somewhere, it would be probably for last month's report.
It was an old link for the on the draft one. So.
That makes sense. Yeah, what I do is update it obviously month to month. So as you can see on the screen now, I don't have that linked up there. I will have that report posted and it will be on the website as well. But I just got it today.
Great, no problem.
Michael, I don't know if you wanted to continue sharing the agenda, but right now we're not sharing anything.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. I didn't even think of it until you just said it.
Okay, I apologize.
You're fine. It's a brave new world.
Okay, there we go. Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Bonner?
No, sir.
All right, thank you, sir. Miss Fox, Gary, the AVN COG.
Yes, COG hasn't met due to this pandemic. But we are due to meet at the end of May here on May 27th at 7 p.m. with a Zoom meeting. But I did see we have been being sent annual reports, which I forwarded over to Michael. And I did see on our report that Tarentum Borough was funded $28,018 toward our year 46 CDBG 2020 valve project. So that is good news for Tarentum Borough.
Indeed.
That's all I have for COG.
All right. Miss Homa, the comp plan.
No report. We haven't had any meetings since March.
Alrighty. Moving on, Mr. Blythe, finance and administration.
Nothing really. I mean, the reports are online. The budget report, check register, year-to-date revenue, all that's online. So nothing right now. We are moving on as far as the audit goes for 2019. We are moving a lot faster than we were previously. So that's good news.
Excellent. Thank you. Carrie, right back to you, Parks Rec Library.
Okay, thank you. I'm very pleased to hear that Drescher Stadium is going to see their paving will be done soon. And so that'll be complete, which is a great thing. Also very happy to see that the final stages will be done on the park with the band renovations. So that's great news to hear that things are moving in the right direction for the park. I know many people are looking forward to that. for the summer. I know anybody's looking forward to a positive, safe summer. Hopefully we can all have that. Everything's really been on hold, until further notice. Hopefully we will be able to have a meeting. We will probably keep the same date of May 26th. I'm going to get together with Michael and see if we can get together and have a Zoom meeting with his help. So that's where we stand with recreation.
Do you have a, and it's, I just have a question. How, like, what is the turnaround time that you have to think about? Like, I see the first concert's June 11th. Like, I mean, I know that, I don't even want to talk about it, but like, what is the, drop dead date or?
I don't know. I have talked to, that was supposed to be one of Beatles, which, I talked the last meeting about Pat Seeger passing away. So one of Beatles is definitely an out, as it is. So I have talked to Dick Gaynor, and they have said that they would like to see the concert happen anyway, but it's all going to depend on what the governor's orders are and where we stand at that time. So I have to wait and see what our timeline is going to be. And they are willing to play it out and see where we're at that time. I have not talked to any of the other bands, and I'm sure these bands are in the same situation. They don't want to cancel anything until we see where we're at. We are outside facility. We usually see anywhere from one of Beatles was our biggest concert that we always, seen down there. We could get up to about, probably about 200 people down there. So that would have been our biggest concern with crowds. The other concerts, we average anywhere from, we could get like 100 people. But some of the concerts there might only be about 60 people. So I don't know where we're going to stand. We're going to have to just wait to see what the governor puts out.
And then I guess, because I have the same thoughts with youth football starting, like, everything could look different, but even if you're able to, the band is able to come, but like the snack shack isn't, able to open, like, I guess there's so many different, scenarios that could play out.
Yeah. And we'd probably have to go through the health department to see, because our snack shack gets approved through the health department. So we'd probably have to go through the health department to see if we could serve food. And even if the band could still come, even if we wouldn't open the snack shack, there's plenty of room for people to social distance down in the park, being that we close the street. So there's a lot of scenarios that can still play out. So I hate to see it close or shut everything down, rather, just yet. I hate to do it yet. I hate to cancel summer. So
I don't think there's anybody on here that would disagree with you.
So we're just going to play it out and see what happens. So, but that's why I'd like to have a meeting with everybody. Because, as everyone knows, it's a 9-member board, and it is up to them. It's not up to me. It's a 9-member board. They have to make the decision. I'm only one person. Yeah, I'm president, but I'm only one person. So it's going to take them to make that decision. So I want to have a meeting, and we haven't been able to have a meeting. So we have to, all get together and make that decision.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, were you done with
Oh, I just want to mention one thing too. Last meeting, I know we voted to cancel the cleanup day, but I did get an email, and I'm assuming that a lot of you may have gotten it also, and I'm sure, Jim knows this, but Keep America Beautiful did send out an email saying that their new campaign is going to run September 1st through November 30th. So I'm sure we're going to probably maybe start getting some emails from Chuck and Harrison and Brackenridge to probably schedule a new cleanup day.
Sounds good. I know
And I
people,
also, just before we move on, I also wanted to thank the police department, our fire departments for everything they did during our scare with the tornado. I don't know what the other fire departments did, but I do know I live on the west side of town, and Summit Hose couldn't have been more terrific that night. Helping with and public works. Our public works is phenomenal in this town. We don't know what we have until we run into something like that. I know Jim, probably living up on the hill, probably was scared to death because that tornado came down over that hill. It came down and touched down on the creek down here where I live, and I never heard anything like that. But our town pulls together. Anytime there's a crisis like that, we have top-notch people in this town, and they all do pull together. Everybody might not like each other, but let me tell you, when push comes to shove, everybody pulls together. So I also wanted to tell everybody thank you for that night. So that's all I have.
thank you. Mr. Snyder,
No report at this time.
it's bad time for special
Special
events.
events. Yeah.
I hear you.
Well, we'll hopefully we can get some stuff going for fall. You know, who knows? Who knows?
My
But,
fingers are crossed. So
mine too, man. Mine too.
Ms. Josephowski is absent with cause. She did not reach out to me with anything on redevelopment, revitalization, or property health and zoning. I don't know if she had reached out to anybody else with anything on either one of those two committees. All right. Going back to Adam, your last up, public safety. I see that you had the Eureka report listed. You have any
Yeah.
other?
I mean, I would just echo Carrie's comments as far as, I mean, when it comes to public safety, we all band together. It doesn't matter, what the circumstances are. When push comes to shove, Tarentum takes care of each other.
Again, I definitely agree with you there. As Michael is catching up on the minutes, that brings us to the second portion, or the second offering for our citizens comment section. Again, just a reminder, the first one was anything on the agenda. The second one, if there's something that one of the citizens would like to publicly comment on, now is the time to do so.
Let me unmute the individuals here. Looks like we have 4 or 5 individuals, so I will unmute. If you wish to say anything, you can certainly do so. Please state your name and your address, and go from there. And then if you don't have anything to say, you can remute. That's not a problem. So I'll go ahead and unmute these folks now.
All right. Do we have any of our remaining public that wish to offer a citizen's comment?
Just a moment, Scott. I'm
sorry.
clicking the unmute button, and for some reason it only unmuted the one iPhone here. So I don't know if they're just clicking it back again, or I want to make sure that
They get the opportunity.
yeah, they get the opportunity here. So
if for whatever
or
reason,
they could even maybe make a note in the chat. If
I was
they
just
are-
going to suggest that. There's a chat feature down on the middle of the screen. Here we go. We've got one. Perfect. Got a couple coming through now that are saying no comment. So I think we have.
While they're doing that, Scott, I just wanted to thank Summit Hose for all their previous work on the fireworks. I know this saddened them to have to cancel. That's a very large undertaking for the fireworks. And I just want to thank them for their previous years of putting on the fireworks. And I hope that we can look forward to next year.
Also put a plug, this was a fundraiser for them, so they will be probably suffering a little bit by not being able to raise quite as much money. So if you can dig a little deeper to help them out, that probably would be appreciated.
Yeah, all the fire halls are gonna be really hurting
Struggling.
because this is a bad time. So they can't get out and do the things that they used to do. So
Yeah, I echo your thoughts, Carrie, and yours, Jim's as well. It definitely, you miss seeing them out with the boot drives and whatnot collecting. All right, I have a couple no comments from in the chat from a couple of the public that were able to find the chat. Just do a going once, going twice for last attempt for citizens comment. Looks like we are good to go. Before I ask for a motion to adjourn, is there anything else that any of our council members would like to comment on? All right. Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting at 6:59?
so moved.
Second.
I could pick out the second right away. That was Adam's voice. All in favor? Oppose? All right, we are adjourned 6:59 p.m. Thank you very much for attending. And hopefully, again, the June 2nd meeting, we can all be in person. And even if we got to have a mask on, it would be nice to all be back in one building.
I hear you.
Take care, stay healthy.
All right,
Thank
you
you.
too.
Take
Be
care,
safe.
everyone.
See
Everybody.
everybody.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Bye, everybody. Have a good night. Take care of yourselves.
You
You too,
too.
Brian. Thanks.